So welcome everybody to our first ever Limitless Month Empowerment Session. So hand claps for everybody for coming. I appreciate you all. We have a beautiful crowd today, so I'm super, super excited. So for starters, for those who don't know me, my name is Alicia Robinson. I am the founder and executive director of Limitless Ambition, which is a nonprofit organization here in Northeast Ohio, and we do teen enrichment programs. We donate care packages to young girls in foster care, and then we also throw women's empowerment events such as this one. So welcome. We are so happy to have you all. Just a little bit about our Limitless Month event. So every other year, besides this one, Limitless Ambition is about 5 years old. We throw a fall social, and the point of the fall social is to get out in the community, to meet different women in the community, and to share our vision and our mission. So of course, due to COVID and 2020 and this roller coaster of a year, we had to get really creative, and we had to think of ways to reach women right where they are so we can share the Limitless Ambition mission. So that's how we came up with Limitless Month. So like I said before, I'm the founder and executive director, but I have a full team of women who help support this organization. We have almost 20 women on our team now, between our board of directors and our volunteers. Many of them are on this call. So if you're an LA team member, please drop in the chat what your role is with Limitless Ambition so that people can see and can learn more about you. We have a couple of thank yous really quick. So first thank you I would like to say is to our amazing board member, Miss Kelly Thomas Nelson. So Limitless Month was actually her brainchild. And when she came with me with the idea, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I'm afraid. What if nobody comes? What if we're just in a Zoom meeting with 3 people and nobody is really even partaking in it? So I was very afraid. And so she had to push me forward. And so I want to thank her for bringing this idea to us, as well as the rest of the Fund Development Committee. So Kelly co-chairs the Fund Development Committee with the amazing Brenda. So thank you all for all your hard work, as well as the rest of the Fund Development Committee. So we have Candace, who, as you guys will see, we're giving away some really cool raffle baskets. So thank you, Candace, for running around, getting all the items. I'm going to give you my item still, but thank you so much for coordinating this. And so you guys will hear from Candace a little bit later. And then also Krista and Siobhan are also members of the Fund Development Committee. So we want to thank you all for your support and for helping us throw this amazing initiative, as well as the rest of the Limitless Ambition team. So we also have some sponsors for this amazing event. So I would like to thank our sponsors, Nebby's Naturals, 1965 Collection, Monica's Creation, Rising Careers, which is our Vice President Deb's new business she just started, where she offers career coaching. She's amazing. Please go see her. And then also Her Beautiful Minds, which is Brenda Coulter's business. She does life coaching. She does a lot of amazing things. Actually, in the raffle basket today, you'll have the opportunity to get her book. So she's a really big deal as well. So thank you, Brenda, for your support. So I'm going to get into it now. I want to introduce our amazing speaker for today. So as you all know, we will be hosting empowerment sessions every Wednesday for the month of October. Starting us off is our new amazing board president, Tiffany Roper. Tiffany just joined our board in April, and she became president a couple months ago. And under her leadership, we've already started to do some amazing things. Tiffany is also one of my dear friends, and also I call her everything: a mentor, a colleague, a sister, somebody who's mean to me sometimes, but I think it's out of love. She cooks for me. And so I just love her so much. Those of us who know Tiffany personally know she's just a breath of fresh air, topped with some realness. So she's vibrant, but will also tell you how it is. So she's going to share with us today about how to push past pain and pursue purpose. She has an amazing presentation. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Tiffany Roper.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Alicia, for that rousing introduction. I am super pumped to be speaking with you all tonight. I do have a mild disclaimer. So my background is in mental health. I am a licensed therapist. However, tonight is not any sort of substitution. It's merely motivation and inspiration to help you quiet some of the things in your life that kind of dull your light. And if there's ever a time in your life where you feel like you don't have a hold of your mental health and some of the traumas that you've experienced in your life, please seek help, professional help for that. And that's my disclaimer. So I'm not acting in the capacity of a licensed professional therapist tonight. Merely just a sister in the struggle with you to amplify the voices in your head that you need to hear. So without further ado, I want to get started. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive right in. So tonight we're going to be talking about from pain to purpose, charting a path to your light. And when we were designing what we were going to do for the month, I always think to myself, I really can't talk about pain much because I've had an amazing life, very uneventful, I would say, in the past. And so it's been difficult to come up with things about myself. But someone told me, a very good mentor of mine told me that, pain is not quantifiable. And the things that you've been through in your life have made you the person you are. They might not be as traumatic as someone else's, but it's still a part of your story. So that's what I'm learning in my old age, to not quantify pain. So I'm going to give you a brief agenda of what we're going to encounter tonight in our conversation. So the learning layout is we're going to talk about identifying your pain, the origins of it, what it looks like, and how that manifests itself outwardly in your life. And we're going to talk about who we really are as people, knowing yourself, playing to your strengths, and how that can help you map your purpose. And then also living in your light. I have a winning equation that I just came up with that feel free to use in your free time. I love coming up with things and acting like they were so profound when really I was just like, oh, this is a good idea. And then preservation and maintenance. So this is our learning layout for the evening. So when we're talking about pain, we're really talking about a number of different things in our lives. Some of the most familiar pain to us is trauma, whether it be something, that stemmed from your childhood. It could have been something that happened last week, but trauma, those are the things that you've witnessed, the things that you felt, some of the things that you may have experienced throughout your life. And especially in childhood, I mean, we all have something, some formative memory where, I fell on the playground and I busted my knee and everybody laughed. And it was just like, oh my gosh, as a 7-year-old kid, that's one of the biggest things that could have possibly have happened, for everyone to look at you, see you're hurt, and laugh at you. And what does that tell you about the story of your life? Well, when you need people, they may not be there for you, or when you're embarrassed, people are going to laugh at you. So those are the narratives that start to become evident in your life when you've witnessed some sort of trauma, especially in childhood. Then there's historical and systemic biases and barriers. And what does that really mean? Well, those are the things that happen to us merely because of what group we're a part of. So for women especially, when we're talking about biases and barriers and how those things can be painful, I was an employee of a community college. And at that college, I worked in a department where I was the only female. Well, some of the things that I experienced by being the only female really changed me as a professional. And one of those that sticks out in my mind very vividly is my supervisor asked me for all this information, asked me to create a presentation, and then at the last minute said that I didn't need to come to the meeting, and presented my presentation as if it were his own. And those kind of things, it's like he didn't think, or he didn't trust that if I presented it, it would have been, as well received as if, he did it and put his name on it. And those things, I never thought that would happen in real life. I thought that was one of those Lifetime movie specials or movies type things that happen, but it happens. And those kinds of things, they do something to you as a woman. It does something to you as a professional, and it starts to create a narrative, again, not being good enough, not being valued, and being disregarded, and those things, they hurt us. They really hit our core. And then as Black women specifically, I can remember going for a promotion and not getting that promotion because there were already enough minorities and women on this team, and they felt like they need a masculine voice to kind of amplify and help with some of the problems that they were experiencing. And that was literally something that someone said to me. And then as a Black woman, a lot of times when you're angry, when you're fed up, when you're upset about something, you kind of have to downplay your emotions because you don't want to be labeled. And that hurts, not being able to fully express yourself. Those are the kinds of pains that make you kind of shy back or sit back when you really have every right to stand up and to stand out. And then there's the good old-fashioned generational curses. And these are things that may not have happened to you, but they're in your lineage. So for example, in my family, there's all these like unspoken things that are very apparent, but nobody wants to talk about them. And it's like, how can we ever get past this over after generation if nobody ever just says, hey, so and so definitely has a different father than everybody else? And it's just like, why do we have to keep these secrets? Why can't we just talk about it and get it out in the open? And those are the things that I call them the broken record. They repeat over and over again. Things like suicide repeat over and over in families. Sexual abuse repeating over and over in families because nobody wants to fully address things. Nobody wants to really talk about what has happened and what is going on to cause these generational curses. Another big thing that's not necessarily the most traumatic, but when we're talking about wealth, I was at a get together just a few days ago where when people pass away in certain families, people expect that there's going to be a will and there's going to be, assets divvied up amongst the children and the grandchildren. And I'm thinking that's just not the case in my family. Generation after generation, you scramble to try to come up with whatever you can when something traumatic happens. And those are the generational curses that have to do with generational wealth. And that hurts. And that changes how we address ourselves and how we handle our money, holding on to every penny instead of being, taking those risks to invest. Those are the kinds of things that kind of hold us stagnant and in a place. So really, these are the pains that we're going to talk about today. And what can we do about it? Well, step number one, if there were steps, is the woman in the mirror. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? How do you see yourself? How do you think other people view you? Sometimes I think it can be kind of maybe a little bit downplayed when people say, well, don't worry about other people's opinions of you. But how realistic is that really? Every day we encounter other professionals, our friends, our family, our colleagues, our mentors, our sisters, and how they view us is a huge part of how we view ourselves, whether that be something that is good or something that is not so good. It's very important that we pay attention to the social cues. Maybe we think we are an amazing listener, but when certain people start to talk, we start to twiddle our thumbs or look into our phone, and you don't even realize it. So really paying attention to who you are as a person and then how others perceive you and receive you is very important when we're talking about who we see in the mirror. The things that you love, the things that you like, and your passion are all a part of your purpose. And when we're talking about pain, sometimes we might mute those things and push them down a little bit so we can make other people in the room comfortable, just because we know it might be a little easier to deal with certain people when we've got that past. So when I was talking to you about my supervisor who took my presentation, that was my passion in that, talking about people achieving their career goals and how we can discuss all the barriers that these people in this particular program might have at the time. And him presenting that, Tiffany, who I really believe I am, would have definitely stood up for myself, would have said, I don't think that was right. And I have every right to present, my passion and my work to this group. And a part of me just felt so undervalued that I didn't feel like I could do that. So let your passion shine through, even if it makes somebody else uncomfortable. And I thought, hey, I'm risking, losing my job if I actually stand up to this person. And that hurts. But this is my passion. This is something that I love doing. And you have every right to put that on display because that's a part of your purpose. And then one of the profound things that just came to me while I was creating this presentation is how you wake up in the morning. And waking up versus lifting up is something that came to me. When you wake up in the morning, is really you're coming into awareness of the day. your breathing, how you feel, whether you hit your snooze button or not. It's all of those things that happen to you physically that tell you that you're awake, that first light in your eyes that tells you you're awake. And it's very different from when you lift up. So the things that lift you out of bed in the morning, that's really your motivation. When you're talking about your purpose, your motivation is the foundation of why you decide to get out of the bed in the morning. So really, we could all just lay there. We could all just lay there. We come into awareness that the day has begun and we could just sit there and do nothing. But there's something that causes you to lift up. And I know for me, that's thinking about all the things that I have to do for my family to set them up in a different position than I was set up in. It has nothing to do with just getting the lunches packed and the kids dressed. And it has everything to do with, this is how I'm choosing to start my story with my family. So it's a much bigger picture. And I feel like if I don't get up today and do something worthwhile, I'm letting them down. And that might be a huge weight on, it sounds like a huge weight on your shoulders, but instead I look at it as a catapult. It's a huge motivator to get me to lift up in the morning instead of just waking up. And I want you guys to learn to recognize the difference, because that's a part of your purpose, those things that lift you up. In conjunction with that, your strengths and your needs. Now, I don't know how many of you have taken the Strengths Finder. Jan is one of my mentors, and we recently had this conversation about the Strengths Finder, and she was just like, oh my gosh, this is spot on. I know all these things you're telling me I could have told you. And so I recently, meaning yesterday, took another one for my job, and it was almost the exact same with two different things in it. So knowing your strengths, where you naturally excel, and I'm really talking about those things that take no effort. So for me, doing what I'm doing right now, running my mouth, takes no effort for me. I could talk on the spot about almost anything and act like I know what I'm talking about. You give me a topic, like that show, somebody dropped the name in the chat, that show where you can do impromptu like comedy. That is me. Like, I can do it right on the spot. I've always been really good at it. It's something I enjoy. Takes no effort. And then when other people are around me and they feel good about being around me, and I can notice that, that brightens my spirit. That lights me up, that puts me on fire, and I'm glad to be a part of that moment. So that's what happens naturally for me. Now, the flip side of that is things that we're not so good at, like handwriting. I don't really want to handwrite anything. As a part of being a communicator, back in the day before there were computers and text messaging and all this stuff, you had to handwrite a lot of things. It's always been something I just don't like doing. Sometimes I can be very stubborn, and Alicia will probably shake her head. I can be very set in my ways and stubborn, and I know that about myself. So I have to force myself to sit in this area of need and say, Tiffany, take a breath, stop, think about it, and then proceed. Because there is no room for stubbornness when you're just being a jerk. And I know sometimes that can be me. But our strengths and our needs also play a part in our purpose, because that is everything. Everything that you bring to the table is hugely important when you're talking about your strengths. And then when you bring it to the table, your needs are met. Your whole self to this table, you bring things away that help you with your needs. And I feel that truly when I'm talking to women, especially a lot of the women in this room. Your strengths are what you bring to the table. Your needs are what get fed when you're at the table. And you leave with so much more than you came with, especially when you have others sitting around you who just bring out the brightness in your spirit, also adding to your purpose. So mapping your purpose. So I came up with this cyclical chart, and it really goes back to everything that we've already touched on. So your self-awareness. Now, this is when you're addressing the origins of the things that you've been through. And I would never tell anybody to, downplay the trauma or the debilitating things that can happen in your life. That is not what this is about. It's really about amplifying and giving a voice to all of the amazing things, learning about who you are and loving yourself and accepting, yes, I've been through some things, but I don't have to stay there. And there's a difference between when you're in pain or something painful has happened to you, revisiting that pain versus reliving it. And a lot of times when you revisit pain, it's a part of your journey and you keep on moving forward. But if you relive it, it really holds you stagnant. And that can be a place where we have anxiety, where we have depression. And those are the times where you really want to seek professional and clinical support for the things that you're going through, if that makes sense. So when you are self-aware and you have a good hold of your self-awareness, regardless of the things that have happened in your life, those things lend itself to your motivations. And that's where I'm talking about that lift. What gives you that lift? What is that foundation for you? Think of who you do things for and why you do those things. So I think of my kids, I think of my husband, I think of my grandmother who's no longer here but believed in me so much. And that's another thing, when you've had someone who's loved you dearly and you've lost them, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to their memory to continue their journey in celebration of their love. Because when you come to the table with all your amazing talents, you bring them along with you. So wherever I go, when I'm talking to you guys right now, I feel like I'm bringing the spirit of those who've loved me, my ancestors, with me to the table. And there's such beauty in that. And then your self-awareness, your motivations lead right into your vision. And that's where you thrive and that's where you excel. And the contributions that you make to yourself, to your family, to your community, to your workplace are so important. And when you get feedback from others on how amazing you are and the amazing job that you've done and how many people you've affected, that adds back to your self-awareness, loving yourself, learning about yourself. And sometimes people may give you feedback on things that you've never heard before. Somebody told me, like, when I talk to you, I feel like I've known you forever. Now, that's not something that I would say about myself, but somebody bringing me into that seat with them adds to my self-awareness, like, this is a way about me. And be proud to say it. You know, as women, sometimes we are afraid to really talk about the things that we're good at because we don't want to be braggadocious. We don't want to appear cocky. And it's okay. It's completely okay to say, I'm a really good public speaker. I really excel when I'm talking about something that I'm passionate about. That's how you map your purpose. You're aware of it. It motivates you. You find what motivates you. You add that into your vision and your journey, and it keeps going around and around. So now this is the equation that I told you guys that I came up with. When you're living in your light and you remove the shade. So if you can visualize this, because I'm a visual learner and I really wish I would have like a video that shows this, but you'll understand. When a lamp is lit, usually a lamp has a shade on it. And what does that shade do? Well, it limits the trajectory of the light. You know, when you have a light on, you have your lampshade, and that kind of makes that circular thing so it only shines up and down. But what happens when you remove the shade? It diffuses the light throughout the room. And that's what I'm trying to get everyone here to understand, is that we've been through some things in our life, in our lifetime. And sometimes those things become a shade to all the brilliance and all the fabulosity that is us. So the winning equation for me is clarity plus reflection equals your shine. So when I'm talking about clarity, I'm really talking about understanding yourself, understanding the strengths you have, also your areas of need. I don't like to say weaknesses, but your areas of need, the things that you could improve upon. That's your clarity. You understand it, you see it clearly, you know what you can work on, you know some things that you can, that you excel in. That's your clarity. Then we have the reflection piece. So within that reflection piece, that's where we take the time to revisit, but not relive, the things that we've been through. Those moments of pain, those traumatic things that could hold you stagnant and keep you in a place. You can reflect on it whenever you want, as long as you feel a sense of, I'm going to celebrate that I've been through something and that I've overcome it. So that's really clarity plus reflection. And that's how you shine. So those things that we've learned about ourselves that are not the prettiest, that are not that are not in the best light, but they still add to our shine, because you know what? We're going to celebrate that we've overcome it, that we've been somewhere and we've got a story about it, and now we're in a completely different chapter in this lovely story. So how do we preserve those things? When you're preserving and maintaining your growth, you're really protecting it. So the things that I learned about myself as career Tiffany is that I will never again let someone take credit for my work. I will never again, especially when we're talking about male-female relations, let a group full of men intimidate me and make me, put the shade on my light to make them comfortable. I won't do that again. I've learned, 25-year-old Tiffany and 35-year-old Tiffany are two completely different people, but it took to go through something and to overcome it and to say, yeah, that really hurt, but I'm not going to let it hold me in a place where I cannot shine. So preserving and maintenance is really about protecting the growth that you've made, that you've had, revisiting and not reliving those traumatic things or those painful things, and then preparing for joy. And I came up with the prepare for joy part because I'm like, what are some of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, and we're afraid? We live in a place of fear. We think they may go wrong. They may not go the way that we planned. If you prepare for joy in your life, it's going to happen, because merely your perception is going to allow you to see it. And that's really important. If you write nothing else down from today, put a sticky note on your mirror in the morning, so when you lift up, you can say, I am prepared for joy. It's very important. When we're talking about our purpose and we're talking about all these things that lend themselves to our purpose and our journey, imagine 12-year-old you and the things that you've taken from today's presentation, really some of the tools that you've put in your tool belt. And imagine the 12-year-old you knowing and learning the things that we've learned today. Well, that's really what Limitless Ambition attempts to do with our teen programs and our teen enrichment. So through our facilitated programs, the purposely chosen teen programs, this is what we're trying to equip these young girls with. Living in their purpose is living limitless, but it takes time to learn these things. All the things that we've gone through today in our brief period of time, if they had just a glimpse of those things, imagine where you would be today if you had just a mild glimpse of some of the things that we discussed today, to know not to diminish your light, to make other people comfortable. When I fell on the playground, when I was 7, if I would have known, dust yourself off and hold your head high, because it doesn't matter if they're laughing now, you're going to be okay. And this is what our mission is with the girls in our programs. So today is about motivating you, but it's also a bigger part of our purpose and mission as an organization, because the young girls in these programs need these tools so they can be better off and better equipped to deal with some of those traumatic things or those painful things that are coming down the pipeline for them. And no, we can't stop them from happening, but we can equip them to say, I'm going to be okay. I can get through this. I'm living in my purpose regardless of these things that are thrown at me. So I'm glad that everyone was able to join us today and to listen to this brief motivational talk about living with your purpose. But please consider, since this is Limitless Month and we're really amped up about our programming continuing forward, please consider Limitless Ambition as a charity you want to donate to now and in the future, because this is what we're doing for these girls in the program. We want them to have these tools so they can build upon their purpose. So when they lift up in the morning, they learn who they're doing this for, what they're doing it for, and they have a foundation in that purpose. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors and say thank you so much for your support. We are so glad that you're a part of the bigger mission, the overall purpose of our organization. That is it for me. Does anybody have any questions, any feedback? Thank you.
Beautiful, Tiffany. Like, I feel so empowered and inspired. I teared up a little bit. That was a beautiful, beautiful presentation. We would like to take a question, though. Does anybody have any questions? You do got a licensed therapist on the line that is operating in the vein of a motivator, empowerer. She's an entrepreneur. Does anybody have any questions? Or even if you want to drop your question in the chat. And we are not done yet, so please don't leave. Also, let me add that.
And I'm so glad Brenda, thank you for putting Whose Line Is It? Yes, Whose Line Is It Anyway? That was the show I was talking about. Love that show. I always thought if I was on that show, I would be like on fire. Love it.
Any other questions? Miss Brenda, did you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I would like to commend the commender for doing an excellent job. I am the founding president of Power of Dreams Sisterhood and Sisters Ministries, or Advocates Against Domestic Violence. And this is one, and if everybody would know, these young ladies would know, like you're saying, their purpose, and wake up every morning knowing that this joyful, and I love who I am, it would be change so many things in their life. So just to commend you for what a good job you've done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a question. So I know, hi, and I know that you're a mother of a young daughter, and there's a lot of media out there and all kinds of messages that our young daughters are faced with. How do you kind of help instill purpose development and ensuring that purpose practices going into our young children?
So for me, one of the things that I'm very intentional about pretty much on a day-to-day basis is that my daughters see the things that I'm a part of, and she can see herself reflected in me, and not in a way that she has to mirror exactly what I'm doing, but so she can see that it's possible. So for a lot of us, my mother was a housewife for a number of years, and then she went to work, but she took a lot of jobs that were just general labor. She wasn't thrilled about, education. It was just something that you're supposed to do because it's, it's required. She would much rather have a clean house than an educated daughter. And those are the kinds of, I don't hold that against her. But if our daughters especially don't see what's possible, then it won't be probable for them to move forward. And so I remember that every day when my little girl looks at me and she sees the things that I'm doing, it could be something as small as, how often are you engaged in your phone, which I can be guilty of sometimes, that I have to remember, well, it's time to read a book, or it's time to just play tea party and make silly voices. And I'm also very intentional about the kind of media that my children see and the kind of music that they listen to. Those become a part of your story. And I really want her to understand how she is a part of the world by the books that I decide to buy for her, the shows that she decides to watch, and especially for our little Black girls. Growing up, I didn't have Black characters on TV in cartoons that I could emulate. So for me, it's really important that she sees that when she does watch TV. And you can ask Alicia, when Eliza sees someone that looks like her, she's so excited. And she says, look, Mom, it looks like me. Look, I'm her. She actually picked someone in this Zoom call that I won't call out as a contest winner because she said, oh, look, Mom, she looks like me. And she picked her as a part of my business. So I just really, when we're talking about our young children, especially our daughters, who you are and how you bring yourself into the world each day is a true testament to what they are able to see as possible. So thank you, Zinga, for that question.
Thank you for answering.
we have any other questions? One last question.
So there's one in the chat, but I think they sent it to me privately. It says, how do you set yourself apart in a work area being an African-American woman with a voice without seeming angry or bitter? So this is when you encounter people who have small minds, that's just what you really can't do much about it. All you can do is show up, show out, and show them that you're just as good, and a lot of times even better than everybody who's already at the table. So as Black women especially, a lot of times we have to prove ourselves time and time and time again before we even get the most minimal recognition. And somebody could do something so small and they get a pat on the back for that. Well, a lot of times as Black women, we're not seen as the most professional. We're not oftentimes picked for the promotions, or we don't get the mentorship and the advocacy that we could in the workplace especially. So you have to step up to the plate, and you have to be that advocate for yourself. And even, if people don't see you the way you see yourself, sometimes it's time to go. It's time to go. And if you don't see that position at your current place of employment, you have to create it and believe that it's possible for you to create it. So, and it is scary, to take that risk. But I believe when you believe in yourself, and you have a team of women like the women that are on this call today, you create a network around you that also see your shine, and you will be so much better off.
That is so beautiful. Does anybody have any other questions? One last question for the road. This chat is everything. I do have a question. So for those of you who don't know, Tiffany is a new business owner. So I am going to want her to pitch her business and let us know. So Tiffany is a business owner, a mother. She has a full-time job. She has a vibrant social life. You can catch her on a Friday at a nice little, cute little restaurant near you. So my question is to you is, first, can you share a little bit about your business? And then also, how do you balance it all, and how do you maintain it all?
So the week of that we were quarantined home was the week that I was like, oh, I'm going to start a business. Terrible, right? So what happened was I decided to keep pressing forward regardless of us being quarantined home. And it really gave me the space and the time to focus on what my own purpose was. And one of the things that I absolutely adore is small business. And I love the spirit of entrepreneurship. So I came up with Eat, Speak, Love. And originally my concept was to have an establishment wherein on a rotational basis, you get to try a different dish, and it's really about the adventure of food. While you're trying that dish, I thought, how great would it be to have a stage and we could have guest speakers and I could host and we could talk about different things, and there's humor and we're laughing and we're enjoying, and we're fellowshipping together in this space. And I thought, well, I'm extra, so how about one more thing? There's pop-up shops in the back where people who are entrepreneurs or they have a small business, they're able to spotlight their products and their passions all under one roof, and we're having a good time and it's meaningful and we're supporting our community. Well, COVID happened and we're not able to gather in the way that my original concept was. So working with my mentor, Jan Conrad, I always running ideas by her, and she really helped me come up with a lot of ideas. So I landed on the Eat, Speak, Love small big box. And this will be launching on December 1st. And within this box, we will have 8 to 10 products from entrepreneurs all around Akron, and Akron specifically. So they can gain new customers, and we're still, we still have a hot heart for entrepreneurship. And with Eat, Speak, Love, we especially focus on female entrepreneurs, women in small business, and minority business owners, because we know that we lack the mentorship and the funding and the access to funding like our white counterparts. And Eat, Speak, Love was really something that began in one space and has completely evolved into something else. So you can follow us on Instagram. eatspeaklove.com is up and live, and our small big boxes will be launching on December 1st. So you'll start to see some social media post and advertisement about that as well. But small business definitely has a place in my heart. Your other question was, how do I balance it all? Well, my calendar is usually really full, but I make a point to schedule time for myself. So every single Friday, I make a point to visit with friends, go out to dinner, have a friend over, which is usually Alicia. She'll bring her laundry. You know, you need people who will show up for you. And my friend Kanisha, she's on the call as well. These people who just check in on you, who say, hey, I know you have a lot on your plate. Are you slowing down? Are you taking time for yourself? Is really important to have an incredible network of people around me who just, they inspire me every day. And I couldn't be more grateful. So yes, it gets kind of hectic, but you know what? I just lift up in the morning and I know who I'm doing it for and why.
Amen. That was amazing, Tiffany. Thank you so much. There were so many good nuggets of wisdom in there. So just from the business idea, acting on it, pivoting, being flexible, being adaptable, transitioning, understanding that the original idea may evolve into so much more, balance, self-care, self-awareness. There are just so many different pieces. Also, shout out to the amazing Jan Conrad, who oversees the Women's Network. I am an advisory board member. That's Tiffany's mentor. She's amazing. So if you're looking for some amazing programming, I went through her Leading with Strengths training. It was amazing, and I'm a better leader because of it. So if you're looking for some things to further your professional development, please go see the Women's Network. So thank you so much, Tiffany. Let's give her a round of virtual applause. We appreciate you. I'm so inspired. I'm so empowered. I know that we've had quite a few people join us since the beginning, so I'm just going to recap a bit. So my name is Alicia Robinson. For those who don't know me, I am the founder and executive director of Limitless Ambition, which is hosting this call today. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that serves Northeast Ohio. We've impacted over 3,000 young women and girls since we were incepted 5 years ago, 6 years ago, which, wow, I feel old. So we essentially do teen enrichment programs in inner city schools. So currently we're in North High School, Jennings Middle School, Castle High School in Cleveland. We're launching a program at Bookdale, STEM Middle School. And as of yesterday, in the spring, we will also be launching our Barberton Middle School program. So we are growing, we are expanding, we are so excited. Many of the women on the call here today are part of my board of directors or my volunteer team. It's not just me. I have a whole tribe of women who stand beside me and help push our mission forward. We also donate dream kits to young girls in foster care. So we take our curriculum, wrap it up in a bag, and send it away to young girls to kind of empower them to continue to dream in the midst of circumstance. I believe our founding board president, Zinga Hart, is on this call. So the Dream Kit was definitely her brainchild. And she led our organization for the first 6 years and getting our board up and running. So we love you, Zinga. She put in the chat that she was an LA alum. So we definitely love her and we pay homage to her. And you will actually have the opportunity to hear Zinga's beautiful words of wisdom next Wednesday. I'm so excited. And we also give away 2 scholarships a year to young girls who are graduating high school. So we're going to move into our wrap roll segment. I'm going to drop in the chat the donate link again if you want to help us fuel our mission, and also a link to our website for ways that you can get involved. So like I said, we have a full functioning board of directors. We have a volunteer team that consists of our tech squad who is on the call. Heather and Andrea, they help us. We had to switch due to COVID, and so all of our programs are virtual. So we've been doing them just like this via Zoom. So thank you, Andrea and Heather. We also are going to be launching an e-learning program next year where our curriculum will be fully online, a full virtual class. So we're really excited about that. Social media specialists, we have program facilitators. We just have so many ways you can get involved. And so I will drop that in the link. I see Colleen is here too. She helps us with our PR. So there's just so many ways. So whatever your skill sets are, we can always use them. So I'm going to turn it over to Candace now, who is going to do our raffle giveaway. And then I will also be giving away another item as well. So go ahead, Candace.
I'm trying to unmute myself. Hey, hello, ladies. Thank you again, Tiffany. That just gave me life. I took some notes that I will be using ASAP. So I'm gonna go ahead. I got my little jar of names here. I'm gonna pull a name out of here. But before I go ahead, I'll just give you a brief look at the basket I have here. It's beautiful. One moment. You guys can see we got all kind of beautiful goodies in here, and a pretty box that you can keep and use for many other things. So we do have a DECA hair care line in here that was donated to us by one of our sponsors. Let me see here. That is, make sure I say the name correct, Nibi Natural, donated by Nibi Natural. Then we also have a custom makeup bag that was, I'm sorry, what is it? Nebbies. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Nebbies Naturals. And we also have a makeup bag that was donated by Monica's Creation. We have a nice bottle of wine in here. It's fruity. And then we also have a gift certificate worth $40 that was donated by 1965 Collection Custom T-shirts. Then we have another gift certificate that was donated by Rising Careers LLC. That is worth $250 for a resume. That's a good thing. And then we also have a book in here by our wonderful Brenda Coulter, and that is Her Beautiful Mind. And it also has a gift certificate in it for a free coaching session as well. So we definitely have some great goodies in this basket here. So let me go ahead and pull that name and see who's our lucky winner today. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna put my lid on so I can shake it up a little bit.
We need a drum roll.
Is this good? Okay, let's see. All right. So the lucky winner is Justice Bell. Justice Bell. Y'all mind my don't look at my horrible handwriting. I just want y'all to see it. So Justice Bell, we will have that raffle basket for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Candace. That is a very exciting basket. We got a lot of good stuff. So next, I'm going to give it away an official Limitless Ambition journal. And we're going to do a little bit of a contest. So I would like everybody, well, if you want the journal, to drop in the chat what you took away from today. And from there, I will decide who I want to give the little contest. So you guys didn't know you was going to have to do something. From there, we'll read the chat out loud and see who we would like to give it away to. Everybody trying to think of something deep, meaningful.
We'll give them 1 minute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So 1 minute. So 6:52. Brenda Justice said morning joy, preparing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. So we have morning joy, preparing for your joy. To try not to quantify pain. That's good. Revisit your pain. Do not relive your pain. That was also good too.
Lifting up versus waking up.
Yes. I love that one. Be a testament to what is possible. Beautiful. The thing that stuck out for me the most is lift up. Yes. Standing up for myself in the workplace, lifting up versus waking up. Don't be afraid to shine. Create opportunity if you're limited in your current role. I love that. Anybody else? Dre shot. Take the shade off. Okay, Dre said to take the shade off. It is okay to shine as bright as you can. Your light will touch others. Beautiful. Kanisha said, being a powerful woman and not allowing our limits to define us. Beautiful. Yes. I love that. Okay, because I can't pick one. I'm actually going to give this to the last three. So Pat, Jeray, and Kanisha. You guys will all be getting a Limitless Ambition journal with a handwritten letter of empowerment from our board president. So we will get those over to you. We will reach out to you all. So I just want to thank everybody again for joining us. I can't believe we stayed on time. It is 6:53. So in closing, I dropped in the chat box where you can donate at if you want to get involved. We will be doing these sessions every single Wednesday in the month of October. Quick fun fact, if you click the same exact Zoom link you clicked today, it'll work for all of the sessions. Thank you, technology. It is 2020, but we will also continue to send it out and remind you. So even if you didn't register for the next sessions, you will still get a reminder email so you can join the ones that are coming up. Next week, we will be having our amazing founding board president, Zinga Hart. She'll be talking on unfolding your purpose. It'll be October 14th at 6 p.m. So we really hope you all can be back here so we can continue these empowerment sessions for the month of October. My coach always tells me, you know, now is the time to make your plan for 2021. So I'm so excited we can come together, be empowered, think about our purpose, think about our legacy, think about our goals, and think about ways we can continue forward. Even in the midst of this pandemic and everything that's going on, we can continue to shine. I love that. We can take off our shade and continue to shine. So I love you all. I appreciate you all. We will be hanging out. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Krista. Also, so you guys seen today how amazing our raffle baskets are. These aren't just your simple average raffle baskets. These are amazing ones. So if you would like a raffle basket, if you go on the Eventbrite for each session, you can buy your raffle ticket for only $5, and you can have a chance to win one of these amazing baskets. So I love you all. We will be in the virtual room hanging out. If you would like to stay and chat with any one of us, let us know. But I'm wishing everybody an amazing and prosperous week, and we'll see you all back here next Wednesday to hear Zinga's amazing presentation. Thank you. I love you all.